The Last of Us show seems to be the best video game adaptation to a TV show that I've ever seen.
I'm very impressed with the way they've brought this show together. We wanted to take a look at a couple of the shots from The Last of Us to see how cinematographer Eben Bolter has put together the look of this show, dive in, and maybe create the same look ourselves. So taking a look at this first shot here, we have the most obvious element of lighting, this flashlight that Joel is holding in his neck crook. Do you think there is a key light on Joel's face here, or a bounce card of some kind? Or do you think all of this lighting is actually coming from this flashlight practically insane?
I'm gonna say reflective board or a reflective sheet, but I don't think they have another key light here.
So we'll put some kind of bounce card down here to shine some light back up into his face. But other than that, the flashlight and the haze is going to be doing all the work. Technically, is this true about haze? It lights your face more because there's light particles in the air that are actually bouncing light back at you.
Yeah.
You end up getting more bounce light from just air. Furthermore, we have this open window here with daylight coming in. A very controlled amount of daylight considering we're exposed for darkness here, and if this was actually daylight coming in, it would blow out everything. So they have this cut somehow, or it actually is night and they have a light coming outside of this window. And lastly, it looks like there's a light spilling in from outside of this hallway to give a little more depth to this doorway. Next up, we have this shot that was in the trailer of Joel shushing and hushing while they're... Why did I say that?
Shushing and hushing.
And hushing. This is the same situation as the earlier shot where they're going for motivating this light with the flashlight that's off screen. It's fully feasible that they didn't actually just do this practically and they shined a light up to get the desired look. But this is a very interesting thing the show continues to do. They're attempting to make it very naturalistic. It's not an overly produced situation with the lighting for a lot of the shots. And I kind of appreciate that they're letting a lot of stuff fall into darkness. This is a very, very underexposed shot. That's it, I guess. Like there's a light back here. We'll fill that in with a fill light if we need to. But ultimately, the entire look of the shot is based on making sure we get these two little cache lights in his eyes and getting the luminance levels of his face as close to this as possible. Other than that, I don't think they did much more for this shot, and we can move on. Next shot came from the episode that just aired last week with Joel looking out the window of that house with his rifle. So I'd say let's put the aperture 200x just off screen here and get a big sheet of diffusion in front of it.
It's me, the first and hottest Peter's brother. We should make it clear we picked all shots of Joel because this guy looks like Joel. He has a mustache.
If anybody is comparing me to Pedro Pascal, I am shitting myself with joy.
Dude, you look like Joel.
We're primarily going to be using the Amaran 200X to light most of our scenes, as well as cheapish light panels. We started off by hanging a sheet over the window to give sort of a blown out effect. Only problem was the light panel on max brightness wasn't quite bright enough for you to not see the wrinkles in the sheet outside the window, so we swapped it out with the Amaran 200X. The only problem is in order to get the window to blow out, too much light spilled into the hallway. The reason for this is because in the actual show, the set they were using was much longer, so the light had much more room to actually fall off and be contained in that back room.
We decided to take a creative liberty and close the blinds because even though it deviates from the show, we couldn't change the way our set looked, and we thought we should just embrace the location we're actually in. This fixes all the problems of light spilling in while still creating the silhouette effect that we need. Also, I think it goes without saying, we pumped a bunch of fog into this room to get the flashlight beam to show up on camera. Maybe a little bit too much, actually.
Lastly, using one of the reflectors to shine the light back up into his face wasn't working as well as we wanted because our flashlight was much cooler than the one in the show. We opted to use one of our cheaper LED lights and put that on a warm setting to better recreate the effect we see on Joel's face.
For shot number 2, since Joel's head is right next to a big grimy sheet of glass, we smeared some dirt over the lids of these clear plastic bins and hung them up to make a pretty janky version of the set from the show. When I say pretty janky, I mean like, it's pretty janky. One thing I hadn't really noticed when breaking down this shot is there's a pretty clear key light coming through this glass to illuminate that upstage side of his face. We also added a little bit of a rim light to light up the back of his neck and illuminate the smudges on the glass. This time, bouncing the flashlight beam up at his face worked a lot better, and the shot was pretty much ready to go. The final shot we were doing was by far the most simple. Again with the Amaran 200X for the key light, which after about 30 seconds of testing, we decided not to use the built-in fire effect setting, because it kind of just did whatever the fuck this is. And we got much more convincing light variation by just using the flicker effect built into DaVinci. I set the range to 0.015, and honestly it looks really convincing. We did a couple more takes with the key light at slightly different angles, and in about 3 takes we pretty much got the final shot.
So that's it. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's any other TV shows or movies you think we should recreate the look from. Maybe we'll do The Mandalorian, because I guess Elliot looks like Pedro Pascal. Ooh, and Finn can be Grogu.